Now we've got a special surprise for you guys. We're going to talk to Erika Andiola. She's the political director of Our Revolution. But oh no, here comes Newkirk from Democracy Spring. Two powerhouse progressives for the price of one. He's going to join her in this interview. Erika and Kai, welcome to Rebel headquarters. Erika, you went into Chuck Schumer's office and other offices. You were part of the Dream 7. What did you guys do there, and what was the hope? And then I want to get to whether that hope was realized.
Yeah, of course. So the reason we went into Schumer's office was because we were very clearly asking for him to pledge something that we're calling the New Dream New Deal pledge, which means that right now Democrats have the ability and have the leverage to, tell Republicans, if you want to vote for the spending bill, which is coming up on January 19th, then you have to pledge that you're going to vote, for the Dream Act to be included in there, and that you're going to allow for the Dream Act to be included in there. So, Schumer is the leader of the Democratic Party in the Senate, and so for us, it was important that he not only pledged himself, but also that he allowed or he pressured the rest of his party to do it. And we told him, if you don't do this right now, we're going to stay in jail until you get it done. Unfortunately, it didn't happen in December, but we're still pushing for it to happen again in January 19th as we have a chance.
Okay, so I want to come back to that in a second, but so Kai Newkirk from Democracy Spring is a guy who is used to a lot of direct action, and I was there with him when we got arrested fighting money in politics in Washington, D.C. So Kai, I imagine that you were in favor of the direct action that Erika and her colleagues took there in the Senate.
Absolutely, it's MLK Day today, and that's a reminder to us that no great democratic struggle in our country has ever been won without using the tool that King called the sword that heals. That's nonviolent direct action. So we knew it wouldn't be any different in this case, and it was an idea that we came up together to do this, what we ended up calling a jail strike. And we all felt that it was really important to do something that would communicate the moral urgency of this fight and create more of a sense of political crisis that dreamers and documented young people like Erika can't wait. And we can't allow Democrats and Republicans of conscience who say they want to do something about this to delay.
Yeah.
As King said, delay all justice is justice delayed is justice denied. And we couldn't tolerate that right now. So people had to do an action that would involve a deeper sacrifice. And it was incredibly powerful what they did. I wanted to go in with them, but we understood there needed to be more support on the outside. And it was tough knowing that she was in there and that the others were. But people were moved across the country. And we went from 8 Democrats, I believe, who voted against the spending bill earlier in December because it didn't include Dream, to 30. And that was a huge jump. And that's what these kind of actions do, and we've got to keep it going.
So you're right, Kai. It is just great to talk to you guys on Martin Luther King Day. I mean, it's perfect that you guys are on today. And that's exactly what Martin Luther King called for, nonviolent direct action. And he was willing to risk arrest, and he was willing to risk a lot more than that to fight for our rights. And that's what you guys are doing. And seeing two huge progressives, in my opinion, fighting for the same cause in the same direction, it's just great to see. So now, Erika, I want to turn back to you and figure out where we are in the fight today. So you guys did that action, as Kai pointed out. You've got a lot more Democrats on your side now. In terms of the budget bill, where are the Democrats on the Dream Act, and do you think that they're in the right place yet?
I mean, there's been a push, for the Dream Act to be, to make a deal with the Trump administration, with the White House, and with other Republicans in Congress, in both the Senate and the House. Unfortunately, I mean, that hasn't gone anywhere. I mean, Trump just said recently that he wants to, that he's not going to take the deal, and also the deal, unfortunately, has a lot in it that we can't take. I mean, things that that would really push our families and the rest of the communities a lot deeper into the shadows. And so that's just not working. And so for us, again, the strategy going into Friday, this Friday, January 19th, is to double down on this ask and this demand for Democrats to not just use us for political purposes. I mean, ton of Democrats reach out to me to go and speak, and tell my story in their campaigns, because they say that they support Dreamers, but when it comes down to actually, putting the foot down and say, Republicans, if you want to vote for the spending bill, then you have to put the Dream Act in the bill. And if they don't do that, to me, that's really betraying us, and that's really, again, backstabbing us, like they did in 2010 when 5 of them didn't vote for the Dream Act. And so it's important that we continue the pressure on Democrats. Obviously, we're not letting Republicans off the hook. It was Trump who ended DACA. It was the GOP who continued to attack our communities, every time they get a chance for the majority of the party. But now is the chance for Democrats to be the ones that can really be there for us on a time that on a time of crisis for Dreamers.
Yeah, look, it's a given that the Republicans are on the wrong side, at least for now. But when we have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing Democrats to actually be progressives, it is maddening. But it makes a difference. That's why we have to push. So our Dream campaign is teamed up, by the way, with Seed, Our Revolution, Democracy Spring, that Kai's from, Progressive Democrats for America, Justice Democrats, and Presente. So that's a lot of different groups. One of those, the Justice Democrats, had a petition to call for not just DACA, but net neutrality and Social Security and Medicare protection to be part of the budget deal. And Erika, the logic there was, if you fight for 3 things, you have a much better chance of getting 1 to 2 of those. And that's one way to go. I think at a minimum, I always keep thinking it's at a minimum, Social Security and Medicare are sitting there at over 80%. Net neutrality is 60 to 70%. Dream Act is 70%. So that's one way. The other thing is to ask for a clean bill. I mean, if we have 70% of Americans on our side and we can't plant our flag on that, what can we fight for? And it's really hard not to get frustrated with the Democratic Party.
The fact is that, the majority of the American public supports the Dream Act, and people are surveyed over and over again, asked if they support Dream, and there's more than 80% of the American public that says yes. They never ask if they would support it only if it comes with border security and only if it comes with more enforcement. And so it's going to continue to be our push and our ask, and we can't I cannot gain a path to citizenship understanding that my family, my mother, my brothers and sisters could get deported. It's just can't happen.
So if you guys don't know, Erika's also a dreamer. And so it's personal in a lot of different ways. By the way, it doesn't have to be personal. Kai's not a dreamer, he fights. I'm not a dreamer and I fight. We should all fight for one another. I mean, today I ripped into Mia Love on the show because now that Trump has attacked Haitians and she's Haitian American, she now realizes he's racist. But Erika and Kai, where was she when Trump was calling Mexicans rapists and criminals, right? She was nowhere to be found, so I'm not giving her any credit for that. We all got to fight together. So Kai, just a direct question on that. So what's the next steps here, both in terms of pushing Democrats and Republicans in the right direction for now, and what happens if they don't go in the right direction?
Well, first of all, I want to say this is personal for me. Erika's my partner, and other people that are very close friends and loved ones to me are going to be deeply, profoundly impacted by this. And I think this is one of the things that's inspired me most about the Our Dream fight so far is we've seen a lot more people that are progressives but aren't undocumented or haven't really been connected to the immigrant rights fight for very long have really gotten involved in this, done actions, organized, taken leadership. And that's what this is going to take. We can't, for too long, dreamers have been fighting and making huge sacrifices on their own. And we who say we stand with them have to step up and do more. And so for the Democrats, they're afraid of taking the risk of shutting the government down or blocking the spending bill and saying we have to get a deal on this. But real leadership requires courage. Real leadership requires risk. That's what the Dream 7 did. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. did. That's what John Lewis has done in the past. And he came out and he said, in response to Trump with this shithole country's despicable comment, we got to draw a line in the sand against this kind of racism. And he's not going to vote support any government funding unless there's a deal on DACA. That's what we need to get more Democrats to do. And we're organizing actions this week on the 17th and 18th, Wednesday and Thursday, through the Our Dream Coalition to challenge Democrats to do the right thing. And that's what we got to continue to do. We have a real chance. There was an article in CNN today that said the Dems are closer to being willing to take this step than they have at any time in the past. That's because of the leadership from the grassroots. That's where the leadership comes from, and then it gets there. You're right that we shouldn't have to fight so hard to get the Dems to do the right thing. We have to transform the party. We have to do the kind of work that Justice Dems, Our Revolution, and many others are trying to do. But we can't wait for the next election. We've got to force the ones that are in there now to do the right thing and shift them over to the real kind of leadership that our country needs.
Okay, by the way, the links to all these organizations will be in the description box below. Please support them. If you're watching on YouTube and if you're watching on Facebook, it'll be in the comment section. So there's fightforourdream.org and there's a link to a donation there, but we'll also put Democracy Springs link down below as well. All right, one last question for you, Erika, and it's a tough one, and I'm not sure where I come out on it. If they have a bill that protects streamers, which is great, but has a couple of $2 billion for the wall or what they call border security, and it passes their otherwise odious budget, and then they attack things that they call chain migration, which is simply family members supporting one another for citizenship, legal immigration, the thing that they pretended they were in favor of. Should Democrats vote yes or no on that?
Well, what I can tell you is that I'm not going to support and I'm not going to push for something that is going to criminalize and that's going to push, like I said before, my community deeper into the shadows. That's just something that I can't, I can put in my conscience of doing that. And also, it could hurt my own family. The rest of my family, majority of them are still undocumented. And so I think right now, though, my biggest focus is not necessarily on asking that question. I'm not the one on the table making these negotiations. We are the people, we are the people right now who have the ability to push what we want. And so, politicians are going to be making deals, they're going to be the ones on the table. I think for us, it's important that right now, until we get this bill to go on the floor, we make sure that we push as hard as we can for what we want and for what the American people want, which is the DREAM Act, without having to deal with security, without having to deal with all these, terrible things that they're trying to add to the DREAM Act. So, it's going to be it's been a long fight. It's very complicated, but I think right now, like I said, we got to keep pushing, and we have a chance this week to get it done by Friday.
Yes, we certainly do, and it would be a great accomplishment. And it shouldn't be too much to ask for, given that even a majority of Trump voters are in favor of the DREAM Act. I mean, and 70% of Americans are. It should be the bare minimum, and it definitely is not something we need to push either side on. But unfortunately, that is the case. And Erika Andiola and Kai Newkirk, as always, fighting the good fight on this. Thank you so much for joining us at Rebel Headquarters. Really appreciate it.
Great to be
Thank you
with
so
you, brother.
much.
Thank you.